Your Black World and the Black Business School. And it's good to see everybody. And as you guys come into the conversation, I'm going to let the rest of the tribe know that we are talking right now. I am going live on drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. So if you're Black and intelligent, this is the place for you. If you're not Black or intelligent, then you may want to get the fuck out, because I'm going to hurt your feelings and probably offend you at some point, because I just offend everybody, and I'm okay with that. So how you doing, John Doe and AJ Amos, and I see a lot of you in here. Good to see you today. Give me a second. I'm going to send out a text message to the rest of the family and let them know that we are live right now. We're live in full effect. And give me 1 second. All right, so let's see here. Let me see here. All right, so by the way, if you want to get a text message when I go live, just text Boyce, my name Boyce, to 31996. Text the word Boyce to 31996, and you can actually get a text alert when I go live. It doesn't always go out. It costs money to send out text messages, so we don't send them out every single time. But we do send them out enough that that you'll be more in the know than otherwise. Because social media kind of sucks. With Facebook, I think I have 80-something thousand people that follow my personal page, and then a few 100,000 that follow my other pages. But it's really interesting. They don't actually they don't actually share when I go live with anybody. So with a few, they share with a few people, but they really go out of their way to block people. I think my association with Farrakhan probably got me in trouble, but I don't care. I'm gonna ride with the minister no matter what. So let's see here. So hit the thumbs up button if you haven't hit the thumbs up button. I want to do a quick rundown and say, hello, Daniel, Trav Films, David Smith, EC, Kenyatta Ali, Andrew McGibbon. If you're still in New York, come to Champion Bakery in the Bronx. Man, I wish I could, brother. I wish I could. I'm coming. I'll come there next time though, because I remember you mentioned that one time, and I just didn't get around to it. I apologize. It was her birthday trip, and I want to make sure I try to be a good Black man and take care of my good Black woman by focusing my energy. Because when you do something that's very public, a lot of things take your attention. Even little things like if I'm walking down the street and somebody stops me. Although if you ever see me on the street, please stop me, give me a hug, say hi, don't be shy. But it's a little embarrassing because I try to make sure I give my family their family time. But then sometimes the community calls, and I belong to the world, and she understands that, and I appreciate that. But anyway, Iceman 1500, what's going on? Jasmine Foster. Kay, Shalonda, Spin Beyblade, about Baltimore, Maryland. I see Steve and Paul and Day and Deja and Enrico. Shout out your city, so everybody knows what city you're coming from as well. That's really important. I want everybody to know about everybody around the world who believes in the power of Blackness and the power of building a strong community. So hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. All right, so let me jump into this conversation. I was talking to somebody about rappers. I don't know why they came up. It just popped up. I think it was because Jay-Z is now a billionaire, which I think is great. Good for him and his family. Beyonce, I'm sure is on her way. If she's not there yet, the reason she ain't there yet is because she's younger than Jay. She's been in the game a little bit less time. So I think it's only a matter of time before Beyonce catches up to her husband. And I think that's great, but it's not a competition, right? It's a community building exercise. It's cooperation. It's where they're working together to build something extraordinary as two, people that love each other. And I think it's great. And in fact, what I love the most about Beyonce and Jay-Z's marriage is that they've had problems and they've been very public, but all the people that were cheering for them to break up, they stayed together, and the thing about it is sometimes these marriages, a lot of these marriages, I'm telling you, I know a little bit, I get a little inside scoop. People tell me stuff every now and then. A lot of these celebrity marriages that look rock solid, those things are being held together with Scotch tape and crazy glue, like for real, like literally being held together, with you just kind of lick your thumb and get it wet and hold it together, like whatever, like a little butter and a little Crisco, like literally. A lot of marriages, they just stay together because the people that are in them just decide that they're gonna make it work. They're gonna figure it out. When I asked my daddy is my mother and my father are going to be 45 years in October, and I asked my father, I said, "What's the secret to staying married for 45 years?" I'm expecting some deep, profound answer, and he said the secret to staying married for 45 years is don't get divorced. That's literally all he said. Just do it. Like if that's what you want, you just do it. And I think that's probably the best solution for anything you want to accomplish in your life, just fucking do it. Stop complaining. Stop making it complicated. Stop acting like you got all these cushy emotional reasons why you can't do it. No, if you are a person that loves Beyonce and Beyonce comes to town and there's a million reasons why you can't get a day off, can't get a babysitter, can't get the money to go to the concert, can't get a new outfit. I know women who will still find a way to get to that Beyonce concert, right? Or if a man loves a woman or wants to get with her, wants to get a piece of ass, you could put a damn blizzard, a hurricane, and whatever between him and that woman. It don't matter. You can put the World War III between him and that woman. He gonna find a way to get to that woman he trying to get to. It don't matter. He'll take every train, every bus, climb every mountain, swim every sea. He'll dodge bullets. He'll run through. He'll walk through fire to get to that ass. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Seriously. I mean, that's what hunger looks like, right? So to me, when you tell yourself that there's something you can't do, that's really you saying that, that it's inconvenient. Or that's also a way of you saying that it's not a big priority. Or that's another way of you saying, I really don't want it that much. Because if you are for real, the things you really want, you find a way to get them. Like if somebody had your child and they kidnapped your child and your child was kidnapped and taken down into Ecuador and you didn't know shit about it, you ain't never been to Ecuador, ain't got no money for a plane ticket, can't take no days off work, master done told you got to come to the job on Tuesday anyway, you're still going to find a way to get to Ecuador because you love your kids. Am I right or am I right? Am I right or am I right? Right? So what I'm saying to you is that desiring something, it can be a conscious effort. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes you just wake up one day and you just really want something really bad. You really love your kids, or you really want that woman, or you really want that Beyonce ticket, or you really want that Gucci belt, or whatever it is. But then sometimes you can talk yourself, remind yourself of what you want. That subconscious mind, that self, that meditation, that's focus, that continuous inner renewal is big. So every day, if you wonder why I look like I think I'm pretty consistent. I kind of do the same thing every single day. That's because I'm very actively involved in the things that I choose to desire, the things that I want. I think about my dreams. I think about my goals. I think about my purpose. I think about my mission. So when you start doing that, what happens is God is just filling you up with a burst of energy and power that can't be stopped. You're literally, getting the power of the sun. And when you get the power of the sun, all you got to do is shine and everything else will move out of the way. So just keep shining. You got to shine. You believe in your dream, push hard for it. That's very, very important. Decide what you want, and that's it. And make yourself want it. Okay, so anyway, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. All right, so here we go. All right, so let me give you some reasons. We were talking about rappers, and Jay-Z has the $1 billion, and Nas has a few hundred million, and I think who is it? Rihanna is the richest singer in the world, and you got all these, these hip hop oriented people that are doing so well, and I think it's really great. I'm really happy for all of them, and I really think it's great for the Black community because I see how people pay attention to rappers and artists. Like for example, I might have, by the time this video is done, in a week, maybe the video will have 10, 20, 30,000 views. But if I was a famous rapper, it would have 500,000, right? And so it is what it is, right? We value our rappers a little bit more than we value our scholars, and I'm okay with that. It is what it is. I'm not gonna rap for your ass. So if you're not into intellect, then I can't be your guy. But given that rappers have the ear of the world, I think it's great that rappers have gotten on board with the wealth building agenda for the Black community. I'm glad rappers have finally joined us in the push to Black Wall Street, because I remember there was a time where I used to do the things that I do now, and the rappers didn't listen. Nobody listened. Everybody thought that this stuff was geeky, corny, that it was for white people and whatever. And I was like, no, money ain't for white people. Money's for everybody. Money helps everybody. It helps to be able to feed your damn kids. Like, I don't care who you are. And so in this last decade, I just really today I just talked about a little bit where I applaud the community and the hip hop community for getting on board with the Black wealth agenda, we all been about this life. Go, check my track record. 25 years I've been talking about this since I was a grad student. But you got people out here that took some time, and once they kind of educated themselves on it, they began to use the power of hip hop for what it was intended for. Hip hop was intended to build and make Black people stronger. It wasn't intended to start destroying Black people. So what happened is, white folks they basically played a rope-a-dope on your ass, and they got you to turn the missile onto yourself. They got you to take one of the most powerful weapons generated in the history of your community and use that weapon to self-destruct. Why? Well, because they understand that the power of Black people is so great that the only people that can really kill Black people are other Black people. That Black people are the only ones capable of taking out Black people. So if you're a gorilla trainer, and your gorilla, your gorilla is going to beat your ass and attack you and break out of the cage, then maybe you convince one of the gorillas to help you beat up and control the other gorillas, or whatever it is. Or one elephant, the strongest elephant, you get him, you train him to control the other elephants. So black people are so powerful and ferocious and scary, and we do look like gorillas and elephants to them. They don't see us as human beings. That's been true since slavery, since the Three-Fifths Amendment. They look to certain black folks who have power. They give them power so they can control and manage other black people. Black people don't have leaders hardly. Most of the time we don't have leaders. We actually have managers. A leader is somebody who inspires you to be your best. A leader inspires you to pursue your dream. A leader inspires you to break the rules. A leader inspires you to go out and push for change. A manager is there to keep you under control and to get you to follow the rules, to follow the procedure, right? So the person who controls the manager is the one who controls the masses. So ultimately, don't be managed. You need to be led, and your number one leader should be yourself. Maybe I'm an advisor. Maybe for some of you, I'm a leader. Maybe for some of you, I'm a father figure. I'm Uncle Boyce. I see when y'all call me that, and that's cool. I accept that, right? I love you like a relative, and I want to see you win. So maybe there's a way I can help you. I can help you achieve your goal. All right. So anyway, moving on. So hit the thumbs up button. All right. So the one thing about rappers that I really thought about today that led me to do this conversation is I think rappers, young rappers, especially the young rappers who aren't, who don't have a YouTube channel with, 5 million subscribers and stuff like that. The young rappers, I think, should stop pursuing record deals. I remember back in the day when getting a record deal was like the biggest thing in the world. That was something that people dreamed about, and it was like the greatest thing in the world. But even back then, people were getting robbed. I mean, people were getting ripped off. New Edition. Y'all saw the New Edition story where they got that check for $1.87 and had the #1 record in the world or whatever. TLC. Y'all saw what happened with TLC. They declared bankruptcy after having the biggest record on earth. It happens. These stories are consistent. It happens all the time. I shout out to rappers like E40 and Ludacris and others who have tried to educate the masses through their music. E40 had a song called "They'll Find a New Nigga Next Year," where he basically explains why you think you're big now, you're shining right now, but as soon as those white people get done with you, they're going to use you up like a $2 hoe and send your ass packing back to the projects. And so I've never felt that getting a record deal was necessarily good for black folks. I always felt that in many cases it could be a curse. And what's happened is a bad situation has actually gotten worse. Even the things that record labels used to be able to do for people, they just can't do them anymore. The world has changed. The reason you see Rihanna and Jay-Z and these other people becoming, worth hundreds of millions of dollars or $1 billion is because the floodgates have opened, particularly in terms of media and brand building. If you are a person that has 80 million Instagram followers, you don't need a record label to promote you. You can get your word out on your own. You become a walking media outlet, right? So this is not the day where you had to fight to get into the press. You are the press, right? So ultimately, you see that transition occur. It doesn't just occur on a large scale, it occurs on a smaller scale. Even with myself, nobody's ever signed me. I've never gotten a book deal. Nobody's ever given me a radio show. Nobody's ever given me a TV show. I don't even, even speaking engagements. When I started really telling the truth about blackness and black power and building Black Wall Street, even the liberal white folks didn't understand me. Because I didn't trust them, right? So I don't, it's not like I do this massive speaking tour on all these white university campuses that really want to hear a black perspective. I don't fit the liberal agenda, and I don't fit the conservative agenda, which used to be a very dangerous place for black men to be, because if you're not liberal, you're not conservative. It's like living in a neighborhood where you got Crips on one side and Bloods on the other, and you say, I don't want to be a Crip or a Blood. Well, that can be bad for you, right? So, because you're going to get hit by both sides. Well, but the thing that had always saved me is the power of social media. When I said, oh, well, you know what? I don't really need anybody to put me on TV. I don't need anybody to put me on the radio. I know where the people are at, and I know how to reach them. I just have to find a creative way and a creative business model to make that work. And so that's what that does, is that allows me to have a type of freedom of speech that most people don't have. Most black folks on TV can't say what they really believe because somebody's going to take away that job. But fortunately, again, having extensive economic training, I know how to create a job. So it's really not that hard for me. So I would almost say that's why I think as a black man, especially, and black women as well, learning business and economics for black people is probably the most important thing you could ever learn. Maybe right next to health. Health is important because if you're dead, you can't make money. You can't do anything if you're dead. So health is very important. Relationships are very important, and business, knowing business and money. Like just knowing that stuff like the back of your hand is so, so important, because if you know business, you understand distribution, monetization, marketing, all that stuff, the production process, all the different ways to skin that economic cat. But that doesn't work if all you know how to do is go get a job. And then all you know how to do is go to your oppressor to ask them to take care of you. That's a very humbling position to be in, right? So one of the reasons that I believe that rappers should not pursue record deals anymore is because the first thing is, control and ownership. You're sort of conceding control and ownership. Where I knew a rapper that called me all the time, and he would ask me for advice, and he was really doing well. He was making his own money, but somebody offered him a record deal, and after he got that record deal, he was so miserable because he said, man, I can't do anything. Like, I'll make a hot song and I want to put it out, and I can't put it out because the record label won't let me put it out. Or I had this dope mixtape that was going to kill it, and somebody called the record label and threatened to sue them over the mixtape. So they told me I couldn't release my mixtape, and I was pissed. I was angry, right? So my thing was, when you're trading out your freedom, like one of the key things you learn in finance actually is about options. Stock options in particular, and it's called option pricing theory. The theory of options basically is very simple. It says that whenever you give up an option, whenever you give up your freedom, you should be getting something in return. That you never give up your freedom in exchange for nothing, right? So I said, you gave up your freedom. What are they giving you in return? What are they doing for you that makes it worth it for you to feel like you're in a cage every day and you can't be the artist that God intended for you to be? And he thought about it, and I think that led him to eventually tell his record label, thanks, but no thanks. I think I want to go and be independent again. And it's not that often where you would see artists go from being with a label to being independent. Well, I think a lot of that was driven by the fact that the lack of freedom was just mortifying. Second of all, record labels used to help you with marketing and branding. They used to put a lot of money behind you and get you really out there. I don't see that anymore. I don't see record labels able to really step up to the plate like that, because they're being hit by declining sales of music. They're being hit by the fact that they don't have the monopoly on media anymore. It's not, you don't necessarily need to be on the radio anymore to do well as an artist. What's his name? Nipsey Hussle was never really on the radio. He said in his song, no radio time, I done fine, or something like that, right? So he's basically saying, like, I don't need no radio time, right? Like I'm doing all right. I know how to get to my people. But you even go back to NWA and Eazy-E, they didn't get any radio play. They did really well, and that was back before the internet. And so now with the internet, I think all the things that the labels claim to provide for you in terms of branding and marketing and all that, not only do they not provide them anymore, because many of them can't, but they, what they provide in many cases is something that isn't much better, or it's about the same as what you can provide for yourself. Now, do me a favor, by the way, please hit the thumbs up button. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to remind you guys that if you actually want to learn, stuff about business and how to figure things out in your own life in terms of business and money, we actually have a great curriculum in the Black Business School that I did with Damon Dash. Damon Dash explains how he got Jay-Z's career off the ground. He and I did probably 100 and something hours worth of commentary and content on that topic around, his style of business and his thinking. And he's a brilliant man, and it reflects his line of thinking. And I sort of come in as a professor and kind of add a more academic analysis of what he's basically breaking down. So feel free to check it out. It's intelligentbossmoves.com, intelligentbossmoves.com. I believe that the first month is free. So feel free to go to intelligentbossmoves.com if you're in that category. All right, hit the thumbs up button. The third thing I hate about record labels and record deals is that record labels, unfortunately, they're not owned by Black people. They're owned by people who care nothing about the Black community. They're run by people who don't really care if your community wins. They don't really care about what we call in economics, we call these externalities. Externalities are the people that are affected by what you do. So they don't really care if a rapper like Future goes on the air and is rapping about Molly Percocet and getting 9-year-old Black children addicted to drugs. So they grow up and, so they become 13, 14 years old and molest their little sisters, or go out and murder other Black men, or do horrible things in their own community, right? Or become just liabilities to the community. They don't care about that. So, these labels, ownership is power. And people who have power over your community should be people who care about the community. Unfortunately, given that rappers have power, when rappers transfer that power to a record label that's owned by a white guy or a Jewish guy, that white guy, Jewish guy all the time doesn't have an incentive to care about your community. That's why do y'all remember when Michael Jackson said literally like one word in a song? He literally said, tell me if you remember this, where he literally said one little peep about Jews and they shut that shit down. Remember, anybody remember that? Michael Jackson, I think he wasn't even saying anything negative about Jews. He just said he said something about kike me or whatever, like don't treat me bad like you used to treat the Jews. And literally they came after his ass big time. They were like, oh, you think that you're a big deal? Oh, Negro, we brought you in this world, we could take you out, right? And so really, people have a protection for their own community that they'll never have for your community. And given that rappers have power and they're transferring this power in exchange for economic opportunity, and they're giving this power to people who care nothing about those who are affected by the use of that power, it's very, very bad. It's like somebody in your house the dad has a gun and he hands the gun over to somebody who gives him $20, and that person uses that gun to shoot his children, right? That's pretty much what is being done with hip hop. Hip hop itself has the power of the gun. We're handing the gun over, and people are literally going just shooting down the black community, murdering entire generations, and they think it's okay because people are only focused on the fact that they just gave the dad $20 and he has $20 in his pocket. Nobody's talking about the fact that they murdered all of his children, right? So ultimately, I'm not a fan of record deals because they give zero shits about black people, and they end up harming black people in the end. Third, when you talk about music itself as a financial product, or as a product that can, where people pay money for it, that's just gone, man. Ain't nobody paying no money for no music. I mean, I don't know. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you pay for music? Do you pay more than, like other than like maybe a $10 a month Spotify account? If you're balling, like if you're really spending, like I go hard in the paint. I spend $10 for a premium Spotify account every month to give me endless access to all the music, to a million songs. Anybody else pay more than that? Who yes or no? Do you pay more than that? Do you do what they did in the 90s and like go to the store and spend like your last $120 buying like your favorite 10 CDs? Anybody do that anymore? Exactly. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Nobody buys music anymore, and so the revenues have really dropped for the labels and for the artists. And I don't really know exactly how music as a business model in itself can actually work. Now, the way business works though within music, the reason music has value is not so much as an end product in itself, but as a tool for marketing. And in fact, in the Intelligent Boss Moves class, Dame Dash and I talked about that, where he talked about how he thought about music and the culture and use that as an avenue to market other things. So everything you see Jay-Z doing, Dame Dash was kind of there in the beginning of that. But I think that there was a transition where Dame's style didn't fit with Jay's, and Jay had to go in a different direction. But it wasn't so much because Dame's a bad person or Jay was a bad person. It was just that I think Jay just had a different vision for the future. But I think at the end of the day, without Dame Dash, there would be no Jay-Z. And for that, he always deserves some degree of credit, right? So anyway, I think that what you're seeing with music is that people use the music to build the brand. And when you build the brand, you can use the brand to actually promote and sell a product. And so that's what Rihanna's doing with her lipstick line, her makeup line, Fenty something. Jay-Z has, everything he does with Rock Nation and gosh, I forgot. I think he sells some kind of champagne or something, and a couple other things. I really hope one day we can get rappers away from just selling like clubbing related stuff, because I think black people have too much of a clubbing culture. We spend too much damn time chilling, too much time trying to be cool, too much time trying to be fly, too much time trying to chase pussy, too much time, trying to hang out or whatever. When really, when I see the white boys that are building billion-dollar companies, they're getting together. They might be getting together doing crazy white people stuff like drinking beer and all that, but they're sitting at the computer programming. They're programming at the computer and trying to build the next Facebook, right, or the next Snapchat or the next Instagram. So I think to some extent, I think we have to address that part of the culture. I kind of don't like the fact that so many rappers lean toward fashion and liquor and everything else. I think that we got to spread it out a little bit. But to the extent that they're building wealth, I think it's a good thing. I just think we got to diversify a little bit. Everybody in our community can't be a damn alcoholic hanging out at the club every Friday night or whatever. Like at some point we got to grow up and do other things, right? So and maybe that's just me personally. I remember being in college and people thought it was weird that I would go to the library on a Saturday night, and I said, well, why is it weird for me as a black man to go to the library on a Saturday night? I have big dreams. I got to work hard for those dreams. I see Asian kids in the library on a Saturday night. Nobody tells them that that's weird. I see white kids there. Nobody says that's weird for them. I see Nigerian kids in the library on a Saturday night. And, so why is it that when I go around African-American people, everybody's telling me that I'm lame because I don't want to go hang out at the step show? Fuck the step show, man. Are you going to be a goddamn professional stepper? Is that your plan? Are you going to join the stepping Olympics? Is that what you're trying to do? Because I don't understand. I was like, well, I don't understand why I'm gonna put 100 hours of effort into doing something that is going to have no long-term value for my life when I could go work on this other thing over here, a master plan for building a business that could make me millions and set me for the rest of my life and help me take care of my family and get away from the oppression of this white man. That literally was my thinking. And because I say it that way, I lose friends. I'm not gonna lie. I say it that way and people are like, oh, Boyce, you hate me. You don't like the Greeks. You don't like this. That ain't true. If you Greek, I ain't dissing you. I'm just trying to get you to question your thinking a little bit. Remember, some of the stuff somebody else gave to you. African-American culture, we're beautiful, amazing people. We're so resilient. We've overcome so much. We've conquered so much. We've done so much in our lives. But at the same time, some parts of our culture need a motherfucking overhaul. Tell me yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Tell me if you think that there are some areas of black culture that just need a damn overhaul, that just need, where we got to like stop and be like, why do we do that dumb shit? Like, why do we think it's cool to eat a pig's ass and put sugar and honey on it? Like what does that, who taught us that? Right? Seriously, or why, or what's going on with the baby mama, baby daddy itis? How come none of our kids have two parents in the house? Like, what's happening here? Maybe we got to think about how we're building families. It doesn't mean you're dissing anybody. I'm not hating on nobody. Everybody makes, those mistakes, right? Everybody makes some of those mistakes, and I'm in that category. I had a baby mama, I had a baby when I was 18. I mean, a lot of us make mistakes. I'm just saying though, you can't just sit here and keep doing the same thing and act like that's okay. Like, we got to do better, man. Like, I think we can do better. We are great people. We're extraordinary people when we're focused, but sometimes we ain't focused. Like, sometimes and a lot of that comes from the fact that we were trained to be unfocused. If you read books like Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth, which is why I believe that Dr. Claude Anderson books should be the first books that your children read when they are children. He talks about how they literally created laws and rules and codes. White people were on code. Their code was, we got to control these niggas. So their code was like, we don't want them reading. We don't want them organizing. We don't want them empowered. We don't want them thinking high of themselves. We want them to look at the white man and see Jesus. We don't want them to, we don't want them at any point to think they can question us. We need them bowing to us. We need them submitting to us at every level. We need them to really think lowly of themselves. We need them to engage in as much self-destructive behavior as possible. We will only reward them when they do things that support the system. We will only reward them when they do things that support us, right? They had a whole code and process to do that, right? So that code is what created some of the chaos that you see right now in the community, right? So code, a code for the oppressive group leads to chaos for the oppressed, right? So code causes chaos, but they're organized. We're not as organized as we need to be. We could do better, right? So I'm not dissing us as people. I'm saying we can do better, So anyway, let me keep going. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, if you happen to be a black man and you want to join Black Men United, the organization started by myself and Andre C. Hatchett, which is for the empowerment of black men. Black men, we must organize. Please go to blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net. There's lots of great information, content, everything you need to become a stronger, more empowered black man. So feel free to go to blackmenunited.net, and the YouTube channel for blackmenunited.net is actually flynubianking.com. That's flynubianking.com. Organization is key. The more we organize, the stronger we become. So the last thing I'll say about record label deals that does not work in the favor of the artist is that you don't have bargaining power. The record label has all the power. The record label is the one who pretty much calls the shots. So you can come in and you can make, all these demands or whatever when you're negotiating, but it doesn't matter if there's like one of them and 1,000 of you, right? So it's a lot of times when you see artists sign these horrible deals, it's because they're desperate. When you're desperate and you have no options, then the other party almost always has an advantage. So that's one of the reasons why I advocate for education as well as economic intelligence, because a person who's economically intelligent, who understands how to move economically, who understands business and all that, they've always got options. They're like, I can go this way, I can go that way, I could be here, I could be there. People like that always get the better deal. It's just like dating. When young ladies would, I had a couple of young ladies ask me about, they're asking me questions about men and stuff, and I love to kind of explain stuff. I don't know. I guess it's like you make all these dumbass mistakes, so you like to help young people not make the same mistakes. So I told them, I said, well, the simplest thing I could tell you about relationships is that the person with the most options usually wins the negotiation. So if you get to the point where, you know, somebody is playing you and saying, oh, I'm gonna dump you, and if I don't want you, nobody will, and you ain't shit, and I'm gonna leave, and blah blah blah. If you got options in your pocket and they know you have options, usually they're gonna step up to the plate. Like, but if they don't think you have any options, then they're going to really be they're gonna wait. They might waste a lot of your time, or they may not be as sincere in their negotiation as they need to be, right? And the example I always give is like, you know, you have a woman who's nagging, in her husband's ear, like, you need to stop doing this, stop doing that, blah blah blah, treat me better, blah blah blah. Well, a lot of times he may ignore that until the day where she actually literally packs up her suitcase and moves out of the house, and she's at her mother's house, or she goes on a date with that other man, and then suddenly he's like a peacock. He's all perked up and he's paying attention now. Like, what? Who's that? What the hell? You know, and it does something to people, right? So what I would say in negotiations in general, it's just like love. You know, you always want to have options. And I'm an advocate of entrepreneurship because entrepreneurship creates options. Why? Well, because you have a multitude of ways that you know to go out and get money. So, you know, if you look at throughout the history of negotiations between rappers and record labels, the rappers who had options were usually the ones who got the best deals. You know, even MC Hammer talked about how way back in the day, you know, even old MC Hammer was talking about how, you know, they were trying to get him to sign a record deal, and he was like, I was making crazy money selling records out of the trunk of my car. So I didn't really need a record deal. I could, you know, so I took my time. I know D1, who I love this guy. He actually is going to be teaching with us in the Black Business School pretty soon. I love this guy a lot. And one of the things he talked about was, you know, Cash Money Records. We did a video about this. Cash Money Records, Lil Wayne, Drake, all, you know, Baby and all that. They wanted him to sign badly because he's from New Orleans, and they talked to him on the phone every single day for months and months to try to get him to sign. And he thought about it, and then he said, I don't know if that's really for me. And the reason he was able to be patient and take his time at an opportunity that other people would have just jumped at is because D1 knows business like nobody's business. D1, Peter Parker, those are two people that come to mind in terms of two people that really know how to grind and monetize on a level that's not a Jay-Z level. They're not Jay-Z type people, but they're young artists. Peter makes films and D1 does music, and they're young artists in their 20s that are on the rise. Everybody wants a piece of them. Everybody wants to work with them because they're just good people, and also they're very good at what they do, but they just understand business. I love talking to these guys because we don't really talk about the artistic side of things all the time. We talk about the business side. They understand distribution. They understand monetization. They understand marketing. You know, Peter Parker's a genius at it. D1 has made millions of dollars without a record deal, right? So ultimately, I think that's the blueprint that people should follow. I really think if you know a young artist or whatever, tell them to spend as much time in business school as they spend learning how to make music. Like I think that's the lesson here. I think that the artists at the top of the game, you know, the Ice Cubes, was Ice Cube, Jay-Z, Nas. There are a few others, 50 Cent, and a couple others that have done well. Dr. Dre, that have done well, starting off as artists and leveraging those brands into other spaces where their brand value has led to tremendous economic opportunity, and I think it's great. But you know, they're on that billionaire track, right? Ice Cube will be a billionaire. Dr. Dre will be a billionaire. Diddy, I think, is a billionaire. He's close. It doesn't matter. He's got so much money. Who cares? He's right there. You know, these guys are on that high level, and I don't think that we should just focus just on that high level. Those models can actually work on a smaller level too. So maybe instead of becoming a billionaire, maybe you just become a millionaire. I know a lot of rappers who would be really happy making $200,000 a year doing what they love. Another guy that I love, Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique and Tech Nine, both of those guys. I got the tech part. Those are two of my favorite artists because they move very intelligently when it comes to the business space. They're able to preserve their freedom and still make enough money to do what they got to do, still do what they love, still be very successful, but they're not slaves to the corporate machine. And that's what I'm leaning toward is Black people have to be really careful about submitting ourselves to corporate slavery, because for us, it's much more damaging than it is when they do it, because our community is always under attack. They will use the power of your words to come out and to destroy you. Chameleonaire, that's another one. Chameleon, I don't think Chameleonaire has made a hit song in about 10 years, right? But I think Chameleonaire is doing his thing as far as investing and all. I don't know exactly what he's up to, but I see him pop up every now and then. I saw him with some courtside seats to the somebody, I forgot, the Golden State Warriors games or something. So he must be doing all right if he's getting courtside seats to Warriors games. But either way, though, those are my thoughts. I don't think that record deals are the solution for artists, and also even for filmmakers. It expands to you guys. I don't really know if some of these deals make any sense, but I do know that there are opportunities out there, and I think understanding the landscape is the best move that you can make. So if you want to get started in learning business and spending your time learning business, that's what the Black Business School is all about. That's our unique proposition, in the sense that we're very much in tune with the Black community and the business world, to the point where we're adjusting to things as they happen. Whereas in business schools, you go $100,000 in debt and they're teaching you stuff that your professor applied back in 1992. Well, we need people that are going to teach you things that apply to 2019, 2020, 21, and beyond, right? So feel free to go to theblackbusinessschool.com, or if you actually want to get started in our Black Money sequence, the first class is at blackmoney101.com. That's blackmoney101.com. So feel free to give it a try. We have an excellent customer service team. I think you guys will like it, and it's really, really great for people that want to rise to the top of whatever they're trying to do, because business and money is kind of everywhere, and we've thought a lot about these things, and I think that we have the ability to teach a nation and to build a nation into something great. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button before you go. Very, very important. Also, please subscribe. If you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, you can go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. Last but not least, if you'd like to support intelligent Black media, please go, because we're in a war against ignorance, right? So we're always fighting every single day. So please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We'd love to have you as a supporter. So anyway, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day, and take care. Be good. Peace.